Morning everyone. So we're doing marshmallows today. I'm going to do sherbet lemon marshmallows, which I've never done before, so this could be interesting. Let's see what we managed to do. Okay. To make marshmallows, we're going to need some icing sugar and corn flour for dusting, so you don't need lots of that. 450 grams of your granulated sugar. A tablespoon of glucose syrup. You can buy this in tubes, Dr. Oatcombe ones. They're usually about £1.40 a tube. I found, because I make a lot of this, that it's cheaper to buy it in bulk, so I got this off Amazon. You need 2 large egg whites, but these are quite small eggs, so I'm going to use 3 of those today. You need a packet of gelatin. Don't get the veggie gelatin unless you're a vegetarian, because I don't think it works as well for setting. Some yellow food colouring and 200 ml of water, and also the zest and juice of 2 lemons, which I've just put in the freezer for a couple of minutes because it'll make them easier to grate. You're also going to need an additional 100 ml of boiling water, which you are going to dissolve the gelatine in. You'll do that in a second. The equipment we're going to need: the usual big pan, baking tin lined with greaseproof paper as usual. We're going to need a whisk for this one. Your usual weighing scales, jug, thermometer. As always, I have multiple different ones. They're dead easy to get from online stores if you don't have one already, and the usual assortment of spoons and stirring implements. You probably know how to do this, but just in case you don't, if you're separating eggs, you need crack it in half, and the easiest way to do it is just transfer the yolk from one side to another, and then all the white kind of falls out and you catch the yolk, and then just put them to one side, the yolk to one side, and have them later. If you're really clever, you can do this with your fingers, but I'm not really clever, and honestly, whenever I do stuff like this, I just make an unbelievable mess. So, ew, it's really gross, and you can do it quicker and stuff like that, but you essentially don't want any of the fat of the egg in with the white. That's what you're avoiding here. Like that. But I caught it, see? Saved! So you end up with about that much egg white with no yolk in it. So as we've done before, we're going to make a sugar syrup. So you're going to pour in your 400 grams of granulated sugar. We're going to put in a tablespoon of liquid gelatin. I'm using these ones, but you can just use a normal one. This is really quite gooey, and it's like golden syrup but flavourless. You can substitute golden syrup if you want. If you don't have this, it has the same effect, but it will give you like a tang to your marshmallow. This is essentially flavourless, so it means that you can put any flavour to it. If I was doing like a vanilla-y one or something like that, I'd probably go with the golden syrup, but it really doesn't matter. You're just adding it for extra texture anyway. So put that in. Oh, that's nice and messy. And your 200 ml of water, and put it on a low heat to melt all that sugar. You're just going to do a quick stir at the start to make sure it's all combined. I'm not 100% happy that there's a full tablespoon of glucose in that, so I'm going to add a little bit more, because I think most of it got stuck on the spoon. So much easier using these ones. That's better. And then we're going to slowly melt that and then start to simmer it, and we're going to be bringing it to 127 degrees today, because that's the hardball stage, which is what we're aiming for with the marshmallow. So while we're slowly melting the sugar, you're going to pour 100 mils of boiling water into your little jug, and then you're going to take 1 sachet of the gelatin and make it dissolve in the hot water. Just going to stir that in, and you're going to make sure it's completely dissolved. To that, we're going to add the lemon zest and the juice as soon as this is dissolved properly. So as you can see, I'm just turning it around and getting it to dissolve in the water. As soon as that's all broken down, I'll add the lemon juice and the lemon zest, and that will be your flavouring. I put the lemon in the freezer just for about 5-10 minutes, and it just makes it really easy to peel off. And I'm using the little grater, not the larger ones, to get the zest. I'm going to work my way around, and then I will squeeze the juice out of it. Again, you probably already know this, but just in case you don't, if you roll the lemon, it breaks up all the little membranes on the inside. Before you squeeze it, chop it in half, and then if you make a little slit like that, when you squeeze it through your fingers, you'll get the most amount of juice out, and I don't know if you can see this, you collect all the seeds in your hand, so you get the most out of your lemons. These are quite nice and juicy ones actually. So as you can see, that's all dissolved into there, so it's quite clear. And then we're going to tip in our lemon juice and rind. Once all the sugar is dissolved, we can turn the heat up, and what we're aiming for is 127 degrees, which won't take very long to get to be honest. We can also, so that we can try and stop it being really grainy, collect all this sugar from the outside, and it's not going to take very long to get to this. I mean, we're already at like 99 degrees now. What you've got to remember when you're working with sugar is it really is quite dangerous, because it grows quite rapidly, it can burn you quite badly, and it will also stick to you if you get it on you, so that it will continue to burn you. So please be really careful, especially when you're checking temperatures and bringing it to the boil. While you're waiting for your sugar to boil, you can whisk up your egg whites. What's going to happen is when you reach the 127 degrees, you're going to turn off the heat, add in the gelatin and the lemon, which is going to really bubble and fizz, so really be careful with your fingers. And then we're going to pour that into the whipped egg whites slowly, but I'm going to go through that process in a second for you. So you're aiming to whisk up your egg whites till they're stiff and they don't fall out, and that's the consistency you're going to add your sugar syrup to. Okay, we're coming up to 127, so I'm going to turn it off the heat and I'm going to add the gelatin and lemon mixture, which as you can see is going to bubble when you stir it in, you see. So again, be really careful when you do this. I'm going to transfer this into a jug to make it easier to whisk in, because this is a thing. It might be easier if you've got two people to do this, one keeping the whisk going and one pouring in the sugar syrup. We're now going to add the sugar syrup very slowly to the mixed. Then add a couple of drops of the yellow food colouring, and then once everything's in and combined, we're going to high speed it for about 20 minutes. Okay, so this is what I mean by slowly. Just on number 1. Make sure that's combined. A little bit more. A little bit more. As you can see, it's getting quite thick now. A little bit more. You want to make sure you combine it the whole way. Because it's basically cooking your egg whites at this point. So once we've put all that in, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of yellow food colouring, and then we're going to whisk it on high for about 20 to 25 minutes until it's thick and shiny and it's holding its shape around the whisk. So 10 minutes in, that's what it's beginning to look like. So if you like doing it for 10 minutes and you think, oh my god, this isn't working, that's 10 minutes, so you can see that there's still quite a lot to go. If you have a stand mixer instead of a handheld one, I'd use that one because your arm does start to hurt after a while. And I've just realised I do actually have one, so I could have saved myself this. But yeah, so if you've got a stand mixer, use that one and you can do exactly the same thing. Otherwise you're stuck, like me, with the handheld one. So this is after 20 minutes, which I think it needs to be a little bit thicker, so I'm going to give it another 5 minutes, because although it's starting to hold its shape, I think a little bit thicker will be quite useful. Okay, so we're coming up to 30 minutes now, and I think this is about done. So I'm just giving it a last, see how thick that is? It's a really good workout for your arms, this. Or, you know, a good way of keeping the kids occupied for 30 minutes while you do something else. But you can see that's really thick. It's pretty much sticking to the whisk. So now I've lightly dusted this with a bit of icing sugar. I'm going to spoon this into here, and I'm going to leave it to set for about 2 hours before we cut it and add some extra lemon on the top. Fingers crossed that this works. Okay, moment of truth. So I've let this sit and settle for about 2.5 hours now. So hopefully when I cut it, it will work. This has got icing sugar and corn flour in it to dust it in, and I'm going to put it on the plate. You can dust it in a little bit of sherbet lemon mixture at this point if you want that extra added tang. I'm not going to do that because I think this is actually lemony enough, but it's up to you. If you want the real kind of harsh, you know, like that lemony zing to it, I suggest you add the extra. I boiled the kettle and I've tipped some boiling hot water on this, so hopefully it will help with the cutting. Oh, that's a lot easier. And you just want to make lines going through it to the right size before you pull it out and mix it with the icing sugar. I'm using a spoon to kind of pull this out, that I've also covered in the hot water, and then just tossing them in the icing sugar and corn flour. Once they're coated, putting them on the plate. So just trying to touch them as little as possible because they are still quite sticky. You could probably leave these for longer, but I just thought they look really good. So there you have it. Homemade lemon sherbet marshmallow. And they do taste amazing. Okay, so last week we did quick and dirty fudge. This week we did slow, sticky, steady marshmallow. It takes a lot longer to do than quite a lot of other sweets. You've got at least a 30-minute melting time, you've got at least a 30-minute whipping time, so make sure you leave yourself quite a lot of time to do this one. I hope you enjoyed it. There are loads of different marshmallow recipes that you can use. Like I said, I've only ever done this once before and it went disastrously wrong, so I decided this time to use Sweets Made Simple. I will do a picture of it to add to this. And it was quite a nice, easy one to follow. I will put a link to it with the video so that you can check out the book. It's got quite a few different recipes in here, which I quite like. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and I hope you have a lovely day.